All right, kids have left school. They're going to work. They're going to uni. We're going to talk about some legends in real estate that have done that. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Yalla.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Cleo. With you, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good, thank you. Looking forward to the day, getting involved, getting into it.
Yeah. So, Cleo, how long have you been a real estate agent for?
You ask me this every segment, probably about 16 years now, something close to that. I don't
Well,
know.
I'm qualifying you as a speaker, so people know they're not talking to some butthead that's
Okay.
been in real estate for 3 days. It's a big
Well,
thing.
it is, and someone asked me the other day, like, have you not burnt out yet in property management? And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, I think you feel as young as the people you work with sometimes as well. They keep you fresh and energetic at work. So I always find, there are new things that I'm learning as well, which also helps in beating down that old workhorse mentality, I guess.
You can't get that from working from home.
No, I love coming into the office. I do some days at home, but you are easily distracted for sure.
It's one of those things. I remember my mum worked at Woolies at the front counter, and there was 100, 150 part-time, full-time staff rotating through the checkouts in the days when there was lots of checkouts. And the words she would come home with was embarrassing. It's like, where did you learn that? You can't say that at your age.
It's so true. I think, yeah. There's definitely things that come out that you might not be reflective of your age for sure.
So this morning we're talking about the really stressful time of approaching the HSC, passing the HSC, people, all of your family members and friends saying, what are you going to do for a job? What are you going to go to uni and study? What are you going to do for a job? And you're there going, I think I like this and I think I like that. Um, it must be so goddamn scary for these young chicks and young blokes.
Yeah, it would be scary, and there's a lot of expectation, and there's a lot of choices. I feel there's so many choices. Like I remember leaving school when I did my HSC. There were choices, but there weren't as many choices as there are now, and all the things you could do and choose, and gap years and all of that. Like it was either you go to uni or you do a trade. That was it. That was like those two mediums. Um, we do get a lot of work experience people that come to the office, which I love. Having a test to see if you could work in a real estate office environment at such a young age, having 1 or 2 days in the office, you can really see those kids coming through that, really love it and they can see themselves in there. And I do enjoy when they come in. You kind of look around, you're like, oh, is someone's son or daughter here? And they're like, no, I'm here for work experience. But yeah, it's good.
And they're like those little horses that start walking with those legs that sort of rattle around. You know, those young horses.
Baby foals.
Or they're
Yeah.
or they're like the chickens. You know, the little yellow chickens that like twip twip and you think, oh my god, was I like that when I left school when I was in year 10? Was I doing work experience looking like that? These guys are they're young, fresh, scary world. You know, to get into all that stuff.
Yeah, it definitely is. You can see, with regards to work ethic, what they have at home. Sometimes, like, the guidance, there's more guidance needed, sometimes less. If you come from a home where you've been expected to work and you do chores. You know, they're the kinds of young kids that come in and they look for new things to do. They're not just sitting around waiting to be told what to do. And there's all different styles of learning. But I feel in real estate, you've got to be, looking for that next thing. You've got to be quite, quick and sharpish, especially in property management as well, when you've got so many balls in the air. So we do. The people that stand out are those people that look for things to keep busy, instead of sort of just waiting around for us to say, well, have you got anything to do? I do understand. Like if you're just starting out, it's daunting. You don't know what to do. Of course, you might wait for that, but I feel like the key stand-up salespeople that we've had come through the ranks, they've always been the ones asking a bazillion questions, being annoying, saying, "Can I do that? Can I do this?" Yeah.
Confidence. Cleo, the thing that I feel passionate about, I'm sure I'm going to piss off some people today, is I'm really not enjoying watching these kids compulsorily, going straight into university, not working for 4 years, and they're not making 50 grand a year, so they're negative 200, taking on a HECS debt of 40 grand a year, so they're taking on negative 160, and
Wow.
not using that degree when they start at 21 in the workforce. So these guys are negative 360k, and these poor kids have this lumped on their shoulders at this age, and they're not going to use the degree that they studied in. I feel really passionate about kids really wanting to exercise that career and then getting that degree. So I think this whole work experience thing that we've just spoken about, and I think it's we've got to accept that these kids don't know what they want to do when they are 16, 17 or 18. Probably more than half of them don't know what they want to do. And I almost think there should be like a program when you leave school where you rotate through 4 industries and get paid. And then you go, that's what I'm best at. That's what I'm good at. And make it acceptable to job hop, and make it acceptable to not have to know what you want to do, but to physically get out there and work, rather than just go straight into these degrees and they're like, I hope like hell I'm going to like this.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. And to think, like you said, when you have that debt and then we're expecting young people to save to get into the property market and they've already, on a deficit is scary, very scary. And not to take away having a degree, for sure. Like you said, I wonder if people are opting a bit more to do degrees online whilst they're working, chipping away at from home whilst they're still, like you said, getting that work experience in the workplace.
Look, I'm up for the degree if that's what you want to do, but I just think so many kids out there, they just don't know, and they just go, well,
I'll
engineering,
try that.
electrical engineering, okay, sounds good, let's go. I'll do this. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh shit. A year later, they're like, how the hell am I going to tell my friends, my parents, I hate this? But how did they know to do that, without actually working in that? They sort of had a guess from movies, or
Yeah.
family members that were doing those jobs, or I don't know how they knew they wanted to do that job. But until you physically get out there. So just a quick tag before we go on legends that have come into the business, that we've seen come out of school. Who's top of mind for you?
Right now, Billy, I would say for sure. Billy Drury from our office, he came in on a Sunday, when no one wants to work a Sunday, he'd come in and sit on reception and he'd call when there's a problem, and I'll be like, who is this young person calling up? He goes, oh, I'm in the office. Like, and look at him now with all his own listings and just such a go-getter, and really adding value. It's been great to watch. I don't look at him like a young person anymore. I look at him as an equal. Not that he'll like that, like I'm 45, he's nowhere near that, but he has that maturity about him that that you're talking to someone with substance and that's professional, and I do. I'm in awe of that.
And I think when you look at the history of the business being around for 21 years, people that have come into the business at the age of 17, that are now in their 40s, in their real estate careers, that have come into Novak at those times, that it's been a really cool springboard. I know people like Angelo Gutzios, started, you see those P plates on their cars, and then they advance. I know people like Brendan S. Right, so Brendan Essery, you're running his own the Bell franchise.
Wow.
There's a lot of young guys that have come through, out of school. I think Cleo, people like that. So, there's people within the business at the moment that are coming through. But I do think, there is, these guys don't have a degree, and these girls don't have a degree, that are coming to the business and that work in real estate. But I think they're full. So that it's interesting out there that I think now that kids are leaving school, it's a really relevant topic. Don't be shy about getting into a career. Cleo, these kids got like 5 months off before they start.
Sorry, Mark, it's a bit of a bad feed. I can't. What did you say?
These kids have got 5 months off before they go to uni.
It's exactly 5 months. Like, you can accomplish so much in real estate in 5 months. Definitely don't sit around doing nothing. Come into our office. Like, I think, like you said, just there's work. There's so much work, and a lot of us don't have a degree, but we have a degree in people. I feel our degree is being able to talk to people and relate to people, and that will help you in any industry, whether you stay in real estate or you move on to something else, which a lot of great people that have worked in our office have done. A springboard, like you said, is just the crux of it. There's so much that we provide with the community, and young people should come in and give it a try. I want my son to come in. He's only 10, and I said, you should come in a bit more often. There's plenty of paper to be shredded, and you'll hear conversations. Why not?
I was collecting trolleys and delivering groceries in Woolies DY with my mum when I was that age, completely illegally. I would just get out there, do some work, not getting paid.
Yeah, I love that. That's the best. I just feel we need to encourage that a lot. Studying, yes, being able to be good at school and do books, and if you want to do uni, great. But I also agree you got to have that work ethic as well, and you get that through experience for sure.
Big time. Cleo, thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Go out of school, students, go get them. You'll save Concar.
See you soon.
See ya.